Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Nothing But Bangers, aka MVP, aka Bangers, aka I'm back with a huge weekend of tournaments recap. You're going to want to stay tuned to all this because I've got some juicy details about all of the big tournaments that have went on, starting on Friday, ending on Sunday from this past weekend. And obviously, you can expect a lot of Pikachu, but there's some interesting tidbits of data that I want to share with you. So, first of all, let me show you how I'm finding this data, just in case you don't know. I am heading over to play.limitlesstcg.com, and then I'm using the tournaments section and then just doing some filters. So, I've got 4 tournaments for you, and unlike last video, I know for sure this is the Brazilian league that it's not just for Brazilians, but it's ran by people from Brazil. And I think I've misspoken on that in past videos, but we're not going to talk about that. All right. So anyways, so let's get to the details of this tournament. So top 16, I don't have these fancy charts and everything to share with you. By the way, shout out Bela. I just haven't been able to compile all of them because there's just so much data going around. But I do have the numbers for you. So let me rattle off these numbers. In the top 16, there were 8 Pikachus paired with Zapdos. There was 1 Pikachu paired with Raichu, 1 Pikachu paired with Electrode. There was 2 Starmie Articuno list, 2 Mewtwo Gardevoirs, 1 Weezebok, and 1 Charizard deck. Okay, now when you got to top 8, you start seeing it slim down a little bit. So there's only going to be 2 Pikachu Zapdos, there's going to be 2 Mewtwo Gardevoirs, 1 Pika and Raichu, 1 Pika Electrode, Weezebok, and 1 Starmie Kuno. Okay, and then in top 4, you see there's 3 Pikachu variants, 2 being the Zapdos variant, 1 being the Raichu variant, and then 1 Starmie Articuno. And then finals, shout out to Drake. Got to play them in one of the tournaments, I believe, and they keep performing very well in these tournaments. They used to play Mewtwo. I think now they're playing Pikachu for the past couple of tournaments. They ended up losing in the finals in the Zapdos and Pikachu mirror. But I do want to point out one thing, and you can go through these deck lists yourself as well. But in the top 4, I believe 3 out of the 4 players played red card. And that's going to be its own video coming up on my channel very soon. So make sure you stay subscribed. If you haven't, you can hit that button that's on the bottom of the screen. That's my logo. And definitely come back for more because, again, I'm going to be diving into some details about red card in particular. And you could probably expect another video on a very popular deck that's going on right now as well. So stay tuned for that, okay? All right, let's go to the next tournament. Now, this was a tournament hosted by the people that run the subreddit, and they have their own little Discord. Again, no prize support was being listed in terms of like anything of value. The only thing was like a Discord role. And that includes the Brazilian tournament, so there's not really any prize support. So I do think that, like, honestly, and again, this is not to bash on anybody. If you win a tournament, that's a big deal. Okay, if you top a tournament, it's a big deal. Let's not try to slight anybody. But I do think that the skill level in this particular tournament is probably lower than the last 2 tournaments that I will be covering, or at least it's just a little bit different. So again, just taking a look at the breakdown for this tournament, you're going to see 8 Pikachu and Zapdos decks, 2 Charizard decks, and then a lot of 1-ofs. 1 Mewtwo Gardevoir, 1 Starmie Articuno, 1 Pika Electrode variant, 1 Blaine's Ninetales, 1 Starmie Greninja, and then 1 Weezing with Wigglytuff. Okay, going into top 8, you can kind of see how it shakes out on the screen right now. You can see that there's going to be, in the top 8, 4 Pikachu Zapdos variants, 1 Charizard, 1 Mewtwo Guard, 1 Pikachu Electrode variant, and then 1 Starmie Greninja variant. And then when you get to top 4, you're going to see 1, 1, 1, and 1. Okay, so basically the 2 Pikachu variants got paired up against each other. One of them had Electrode, one of them had Zapdos. And then on the other side, you went ahead and saw a Charizard go up against a Mewtwo. And again, you know, that's a matchup that usually Charizard wins, but in this particular top 4, it did go to the Mewtwo player. And then the Mewtwo player was able to also beat Pikachu in the finals and win the tournament. So that Gardevoir and Mewtwo deck just got hot at the right time, and you know, ended up knocking out 3 Pikachus and a Charizard, which are, you know, you could argue that Pikachu Mewtwo is maybe a 50-50, but Charizard versus Mewtwo, it's definitely leaning towards the Charizard in most cases, just because Charizard can absorb that big attack from Mewtwo and then immediately knock it out. So again, usually you see Charizard win that matchup in that rock, paper, scissors thing, which, by the way, if you haven't seen that video, definitely check it out. It's on my channel. It'll probably be popping up at the end of this video. But one more statistic that I want to throw at you from this tournament is 3 out of the 4 players that top forward brought red card. So no matter how you feel about the card, no matter how much you feel like, oh my gosh, every time my opponent red cards me, it helps me, the people that are doing well in these tournaments in terms of top placements are bringing red card more times than not. That's just the way it is. So maybe that deserves a little bit more attention on your end. Maybe, it's something that you might be able to take away as you enter your next tournament. Who knows? All right, let's get to the Pokemon Legends League. Now, I do want to highlight that I will be covering the Legends League a little bit closer starting this week. So I'll be going ahead and highlighting their Little Legends tournament. I'll leave that link in the description towards when that video does drop. And then again, I'll give a little bit of a preview on Friday as well of every week. So expect a preview on Tuesdays and Fridays of the tournaments that the Legends Leagues will be doing every week for the foreseeable future. So expect that. And again, it's another reason to subscribe. You got to stay in the know. You got to stay in the know. You got to have that alpha. All right. So they do an asymmetric cut. So basically everybody who gets this amount of points automatically moves on to day 2. So this is just specifically looking at day 2. So I believe there was 19 players that made the cut. So out of these 19 players, there were 4 Mewtwo and Gardevoir decks. There were 9 Pikachu Zapdos decks. There was 1 Pikachu Raichu variant, 1 Blaine's Ninetales. There was 1 Starmie Articuno. There was 1 Starmie Greninja, 1 Charizard, and 1 Weezing Arbok deck. Okay. Now, when you go to the top 16, it's going to be the same list, except I believe the Weezbok got knocked out. I believe one of the Pikachu Zapdos variants got knocked out, and I believe the Starmie Greninja deck got knocked out. Okay. So pretty much the same outside of that. Then when you get to top 8, you can see the matchups here. Mewtwo went up against Blaine's Ninetales, and Blaine's Ninetales has a pretty good matchup against Mewtwo. As long as you can get that Rapidash and that Ninetales going, because it trades prizes pretty well there. Okay. By the time they're knocking out your Ninetales, you probably already knocked out at least one of their Mewtwo's, and then potentially you've already chipped the second Mewtwo if they even have it. Then when you take a look at the other top 8 matchups, you got a Pikachu Zapdos Mirror, another Pikachu Zapdos Mirror, and guess what? You nailed it, another Pikachu Zapdos Mirror. So in the top 8, there were 6 Pikachu Zapdos decks. And then 1 Mewtwo Gardevoir, 1 Blaine's Ninetales. Now, heading into the top 4, you're going to see Blaine's Ninetales up against Pikachu Zapdos, and then you're going to see a mirror match of Zapdos and Pikachu variant deck. In the finals, a mirror match, Pikachu versus Zapdos. And the one thing I do want to point out here is, again, 3 out of the 4 players that got top 4 brought red card. And keep in mind, some of these people are bringing 2 red cards. It's not just a one of, like some people are just saying, screw it, I want the space, I want 2 red cards. Now that could be to disrupt things that are like stage 2 decks. I don't know. It could be to punish people that are a little bit greedy with their professor researches, or maybe they're playing cards like Meowth or Caterpie, but there's just different things that they're probably using that red card for. And then again, it's just kind of one of those things that when you see your opponents playing red card, you're kind of like, you're on alert. All right. So let's get to the biggest tournament in terms of participation that just went on this weekend, and it actually happened on Friday. So let's take a look at Ursis Tournament. Shout out Ursi, got a sponsor to help get this tournament prize pool up. So these past 2 tournaments that I've talked about, including Ursi and the Legends League, both have prize support, which is really cool. And they're definitely helping move the game in a right direction for the tournament scene. So let's talk about this for a second. So in the top 16, now there was just a regular top 16 cut, nothing crazy here, but in this top 16 you're going to see 5 Mewtwo Gardevoir decks, you're going to see 7 Pikachu Zapdos decks, 2 Charizard decks, 1 Pikachu Raichu variant, and then 1 Marowak and Sandslash. Now when you take a look at the top 8, 5 Pikachu Zapdos decks, 1 Zard, 1 Mewtwo Gardevoir, and 1 Marowak and Sandslash deck. In the top 4, you're going to see 3 Pikachu Zapdos decks and 1 Mewtwo Gardevoir. And in the finals, Pikachu was able to knock off the Mewtwo Gardevoir matchup, and all 4 players brought red card. So out of this entire weekend of, the biggest tournaments that this game has to offer, I believe there was like there was a tournament that was hosted by people from Asia. I didn't cover that one. You can see it right here. It was 113 people. So slightly less than the other tournaments that I just covered, I believe. Yeah, slightly less. And then they had some interesting results. They didn't do a top cut from what I saw, so I decided not to include them, but you can check that out for yourself. But again, out of all 4 of these tournaments I just covered, there was only 3 people out of 16 that did not bring a red card. So again, you just kind of look at that and you're just kind of like, well, should I really be debating if red card is good or not? Should that even really be a discussion anymore? Or are we past that stage? Are we past the stage of saying cards like Pokedex are better than red card? That's the question you got to ask yourself. I don't know. Tell me in the comments. I don't know. But there should be some videos popping up right now. Thank you for taking time to watch my content, to be a supporter of my YouTube channel. I appreciate it so much. Look for me on Twitch starting this week. I'll be streaming at hopefully 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'm going to try to do it every day of the week, Monday through Friday. So look for that. Come hang out. I appreciate you guys again for taking time out of your day to just let me be background noise or just to, maybe get some helpful information. Thank you so much.